the United States, Donald J. Trump, and the First Lady of the United States, Melania Trump.
A very interesting discovery I have found. Jared Kushner, the son-in-law of Donald Trump, is now owner of the building in New York on Fifth Avenue. That's the address is 666. And housed in this building is a company, Lucent Technology, that is now basically turned into Nokia. But they're working on the RFID chip. Isn't it interesting that the RFID chip is being developed in a building? The address is 666. Now, it used to be the big number 666 used to be on the outside of the building. They recently have changed that to Citigroup because Citigroup has most of the building. But here is a young man that's about to be a part of the administration, the Trump administration, and he owns a building with 666. And the RFID chip is being developed in this building. We know that's going to be the mark of the beast, folks. There's no question about it. We know that's part of the beast system that's being set up. Jared Kushner is a Jew, without question is connected to Zionism, along with Donald Trump. Ivanka is now a converted Jew. All the Trump sons are married to Jewish women, and his daughter Tiffany is dating a Jewish man. Isn't it? I mean, do you think this is all a coincidence, people? Can you see how, like the scripture says, they call themselves Jews, but they're not? They are the synagogue of Satan. They are not Jews. So we are seeing the development of this mark of the beast right before our eyes being developed in a building that is marked 666. I mean, I'm sure it's good real estate property as far as making a profit and as far as an investment. But who in their right mind is going to buy a building with that address? Unless there's something more sinister behind it all.
Make the things that make communications work.
Went to find Jared Kushner to ask him what his plans were. Walk into the office at 666. We went to find Jared Kushner to ask him what his plans were. Walk into the office at 666 Fifth Avenue with his parents. He was offering no clue. With his parents, he was offering no clues.
Mr. Kushner, you think you're going to get a job in the White House?
Have a good day. Thank you.
You're going to get a job in the White House, you think? Charles, you think he's going to get a job in the White House?
The disarming smile gave nothing away.
Jared Kushner is now inside his company headquarters with his parents for their regular Tuesday business meeting. Just like the Trumps, this is very much a family affair. It's all about loyalty and sticking together.
Jared Kushner's fortune, like Trump's, comes from real estate. His company's headquarters are just across the road from his father-in-law's.
to the world of Lucent Technologies. We were born out of the AT&T legacy of leadership in communications. Our business reaches out to a world demanding better quality communications every day.
So what's your company's name?
My name is Jeremy de Klerk. I work for TikiTag. TikiTag is an Alcatel-Lucent venture, and we're based in Belgium, in Europe. And TikiTag actually makes it possible for anyone to create his own Internet of Things. So it allows you to link tangible objects, any-day tangible objects, to online content, online applications.
Oh, wow. And is that what it is right there?
That's what it is.
Okay.
I'll give you a few examples.
Okay, please.
First example, we've integrated TikiTag with Last.fm, which is an online radio that learns you about new artists that are related to the things you like.
Yeah.
So I put a little sticker, which is an RFID tag. It has a little chip inside. I stick that to my CD, and every time I put it on the reader, it'll open a website and play a song of an artist that is related to this CD. So this is how I learn about new music.
Ja, leicht gedacht.
Jared Kushner is now inside his company headquarters with his parents for their regular Tuesday business meeting. Just like the Trumps, this is very much a family affair. It's all about loyalty and sticking together.
Tonight, Jared Kushner's appointment as a senior advisor to the president is also drawing controversy because he's married to Trump's daughter, Ivanka. Transition team officials say they do not believe anti-nepotism laws apply to presidential advisors. Kushner is pledging to take no salary and give up his management roles at his own family's billion-dollar real estate empire and the newspaper he owns. His lawyer tells CNN he'll also sell off a significant number of his assets, including this flagship building in Manhattan, to his brother or to a family trust controlled by his mother, including this flagship building in Manhattan, to his brother or to a family trust controlled by his mother, to his brother, or to a family trust controlled by his mother.
The family members will still benefit from the decisions he makes in the White House. And on the other end of this is what happens when he leaves government office. Are they then going to give him his interests back? It's not really divesting himself of this. It's not separating himself from his financial interests.
Ethics watchdogs question whether he can fully cut himself off from having a financial stake in government decisions.
Hi, I'm Lena Rao. We're here at the Rock Health CEO Summit at the Wharton School here in San Francisco, and I'm joined by Josh Kushner, founder of Thrive Capital and also founder of Oscar, a really, really exciting insurance startup that we're going to be talking about a little bit. Thanks so much for joining us here.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm so interested on why you actually founded an insurance company, because it's definitely not the norm for the startup world of the Instagrams and Facebooks and Twitters.
Sure, yeah. My background, as you just said, is primarily investing in consumer internet-oriented businesses. The reason why Kevin, Mario, and I started a health insurance company is primarily because I had this experience where I opened my health insurance bill one day and realized that I had absolutely no idea what it meant. So I'm educated and I run a growing business on behalf of Thrive. And I feel very fortunate that we've spent a lot of time interacting with some of the most ambitious entrepreneurs that are trying to do things that are incredibly transformative. And the idea was, how could we take technology, data, and design to transform this relationship that is so important from both the human perspective as well as the financial perspective.
I'm Marco Della Cava with USA Today, and we're at the offices of New York-based Oscar, an oddly named company that bills itself as the perfect blend of technology and health insurance.
Oscar Insurance is a good old-fashioned health insurance company, really at the core. So you can buy through us Affordable Care Act plans if you're an individual living in New Jersey, New York, in the future, other states as well. You can come to us, or you can come to us through healthcare.gov, and you can buy an insurance plan from us. So far, so traditional. But we, more than any other insurance company in the markets, give you a whole bunch of additional services as part of your plan that you will not almost find anywhere else.
What would you say are the top three tech-enabled benefits of Oscar?
So certainly free televisits, push a button, doctor calls you back 24/7. My daughter's sick at 3 a.m. at night. It was the case last night, unfortunately. He had a little bit of vomiting. I have a doctor call me back, and he diagnosed her over the phone. He knows her health history and can right away push a button and get a prescription to a pharmacy close to where I am. That's an unbelievable benefit that nobody's had before. Number two is the easy access to your full health history. We became the first insurer where really on your phone, and you can show this to your doctor as well when you walk into the practice, you can see your entire history. We can even import records from before you became an Oscar member, when you were in a hospital, for example. And it leads to much more comprehensive care the doctor can deliver to you if you see what's going on there. And number three really is the real-time nature of the information we collect on your behalf. We're the only insurer in New York State that sees in real time when you check into the emergency room. One of our nurses will call you right away. We'll make sure you have something as simple as your ID number from Oscar so you can get treated properly. But in many situations, you have more in-depth questions this nurse can really help you with, and to plan your follow-up care, for example. And the real-time nature of us being engaged in your care is tremendously powerful. No call 3 months later when things have happened, but settle down, but right in the moment.
We're pleased to welcome Mario Schlosser, who is the co-founder and co-CEO of Oscar Insurance Company. Mario, I want to make sure I got your last name right. How do you say it?
Mario Schlosser.
All right. You see, a New Jersey accent is close. But by the way, for those who don't know what Oscar Insurance is, what is it?
Yeah, it's a good old-fashioned insurance company with a good mix of technology in it. We started the company about 3 years ago. I'm one of the co-founders. All three of us originally come from the world of technology, and so we were building in our previous lives, if you will, technology products that people get excited about, that were useful to people. And all three of us kind of felt that this excitement is really absent in our interactions with healthcare. I had 2 kids in the past 2 years, a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old. The 1-year-old just came fresh from an ear infection last weekend. And so you start really interacting with the healthcare system a lot more than you used to. And in all these interactions, we felt that it's difficult to find a doctor who you can really trust. It is hard to understand what something will cost you before you go into a doctor or into a hospital. And in many ways, what we felt was the insurance companies seemed to make the job even more difficult to get done, and the world more complex in already complex healthcare system. And so we said, can we start an insurance company that would do 3 things very well? One is simplify health insurance and simplify
healthcare.
So you're going
to simplify health insurance.
Yes.
Give us one example of how you are, quote unquote, simplifying health insurance.
If you come, for example, to our mobile app or the website, you hit one button and a doctor will call you right back. Takes about 10 minutes. It's totally free, unlimited, 24/7. Yeah.
You hit, okay, you get the app. You pressed a button. You press, and what happens?
And there's a doctor waiting on the phone, essentially call you back. He gets all of your health history.
Or she.
Or she, of course, exactly. He or she gets all of your health history. So he or she would see your prescriptions, your previous medications, your previous diagnoses.
It's all there?
All there. He or she can call you back, diagnose you over the phone, prescribe you over the phone, and then we know, of course, using our technology, which pharmacy you live closest to, and the medication he or she prescribes goes directly to the pharmacy. You can go and pick it up, and you're good to go. And that whole interaction was totally free that I just described. So
free?
Yeah, exactly.
Then explain the economics.
Well,
the premium's got to be higher.
The nice thing, it's very comparable to where other plans in New Jersey are selling in the same markets.
By the way, let's make it clear. There are currently 5 plans under the Affordable Care Act. You may have heard of it. It's otherwise known as Obamacare. As we do this program, there are 5 companies that are competing for business in the insurance exchange, and Oscar is one of them.
That's right.
So go ahead.
Exactly. But the nice thing about health care and health insurance really is that if you look at it with a fresh pair of eyes, and this is, I think, really what Oscar is, a company full of experienced health insurance and healthcare people, but also full of experienced technology people who typically wouldn't work in healthcare and health insurance. And the mix makes the magic, really. So if you look at healthcare with these new, fresh set of eyes, you see so many things that just should be done differently.
The name Oscar, where's it come from?
Great-grandfather, one of the co-founders.
Is that right?
When he came to the US, yeah, that was the name he adopted when he came to Ellis Islands.
It's interesting to me. How engaged are you? I mean, you don't have a, your background is largely in technology.
Yep.
How engaged and interested are you in healthcare delivery?
So we routinely talk to all of our diabetes patients, we talk to our cancer patients, and we talk to all the pregnant women and the new mothers in the membership base to kind of stay in touch with them, hear what's going on. We have a real-time feeds of when you get checked into an emergency room, and we can call you right away when we see you in the ER, so we can advise you on, you know, your benefits and things like that. Yeah.
You're saying if I were insured by your company, so you would know that I was in that emergency room? If I were insured by your company, so you would know that I was in that emergency room?
If you want us to know.
If I want you to know?
Exactly. When we onboard you as a member, we explain to you in a much more intuitive way than I think other insurance companies would, how your plan works, how the network operates and things like that. And one of the things we ask you is, can we get some more information? Do you authorize to get some more information about when you access care? And then one of the feeds we would get is this real-time notifications when you go
so
to
I want you to know, you know I'm there. You're saying if I were insured by your company, so you would know that I was in that emergency room?
And one of the feeds we would get is this real-time notifications.
The name Oscar, where's it come from?
Great-grandfather, one of the co-founders. Great-grandfather, one of the co-founders.
Is that right?
When he came to the US, yeah, that was the name he adopted when he came to Ellis Islands.
The reason why Kevin, Mario, and I started a health insurance company.
The name Oscar, where's it come from?
Great-grandfather, one of the co-founders.
This is something that I read about back in February, and I was not going to make a video about this. But since I recently made a video where I tied in the ancient Egyptian god Ptah, and this directly ties in the Oscar Awards to the ancient Egyptian god Ptah, who you see pictured here. And that's exactly where we get these statues. It is a depiction of the ancient Egyptian god Ptah, and I'm going to read why. It says, I'm sure most of you are aware of the general history of the Academy Awards or various aspects of it, so I'll spare you the recap and get right to the awesome part, which concerns the coveted golden statue. Perhaps you notice a similarity or two between the Oscar statuette and a certain Egyptian deity named Ptah. Behold. It says there's more than a few, wouldn't you say? This is more than a coincidence. While the statue is supposed to be an Art Deco interpretation of a knight holding a crusader sword on top of a film reel, I find the similarities to be a bit more intriguing. So who is this Ptah, you may ask? In a nutshell, Ptah is more or less the personification of the primordial mound in the Egyptian cosmogony. Ptah is associated with the Jed pillar of hieroglyph fame, and depending on who you talk to, he was the one who called the world or universe into being. On this website it says this. In Egypt, there were two major gods in charge of picture making, craftsmen, and artists. The main one was Ptah. The ancient scribes and sculptors who created the best sculptures and pictures of temples were granted a statue of the god Ptah from the pharaoh himself. So, back in ancient Egypt, they gave away little statues of the god Ptah to the best picture makers, craftsmen, and artists. So, that is your tie-in to Hollywood and ancient Egypt. And here's another picture of Oscar, the best actors. Get a statue of Ptah and Ptah. And I tie in Ptah. I believe he was the ancient Egyptians' Oscar.
Where's it come from?
From the AMC point, we are very interested in improving our patient logistics and in patient safety. And that's why we're interested in applying new technologies to see how we can improve, besides organizational issues and cultural issues, how we can improve with IT technology our patient safety and patient logistics.
Now, what kind of new IT technology would truly help establish this improvement? One of the solutions could be RFID technology. The acronym RFID means Radio Frequency Identification. An RFID tag is a small chip with an antenna. So small it would fit, for example, on an adhesive or a wristband. An RFID tag can be monitored with a transceiver. Every movement of the RFID tag passing the transceiver will be recorded. Thus, complex logistic processes of any kind can be closely monitored. To find out more about the possible improvements that RFID might bring to healthcare, the Academic Medical Center in Amsterdam carried out a pilot.
This pilot supports us in, I think, two ways. It first gives us insight in how processes are going, and second is that we can use quantitative data to improve our processes.
The RFID tags provide quality information on the whereabouts of patients, employees, blood products and disposables. People's movements can be monitored, not just to locate personnel, but also to check on waiting times for a patient or to find out if a person is actually the right patient for the planned surgery.
The data we get from the pilot are the number of patients who go through a specific process, the waiting times, throughput times, data also on employees involved in these processes, also data about the use of disposables and the use of blood products. The results of the pilot learned us many things. First of all, patients accept this technology very easily. Patients accept this technology very easily. Secondly, we learned a lot about our processes. And finally, we also can say that this technology can be safely applied in a high technological environment.
This morning on Today's Health, a computer chip that could be implanted under your skin so doctors can quickly access your medical records. The FDA just gave a Florida company the go-ahead to do it. The FDA just gave a Florida company the go-ahead to do it. You might recall about 2 years ago, a family was implanted with the VeriChip right here on the Today Show. Scott Silverman is the chairman and CEO of Applied Digital Solutions, the maker of the VeriChip. Scott, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Lester.
Explain to me briefly what the VeriChip is and what it is supposed to do.
VeriChip is a tiny miniaturized RFID, or radio frequency identification microchip.
And in a minute we'll talk about how you scan it, but tell me what information is on that, why that would be of great use if I show up in an emergency room.
Yeah, on the chip itself is only a unique identification number, and VeriChip can be used for the medical application as well as a security or a financial application. In the case of a medical application, on a database that ties to the chip, you can provide all your medical information such as medical device information, medical records, and personal information. You choose what information goes on there, and you choose the type of affiliates, such as emergency rooms, that could have access to that information.
If you want us to know, of
If
course.
I want you to know?
Exactly. When we onboard you as a member, we explain to you in a much more intuitive way than I think other insurance companies would, how your plan works, how the network operates, and things like that. And one of the things we ask you is, can we get some more information? Do you authorize to get some more information about when you access care? And then
Again, you go to the emergency room, this information is there, but to access this, the hospital has to have the scanning device. How soon will hospitals have the technology to match up with this chip?
Well, thanks to the FDA and their diligent work over the last 2 years, we now have the clearance to go to market with both the chip and the scanner.
Welcome to Tigo's demo for medical device tracking and UDI compliance with high memory RFID. Healthcare providers are increasingly turning to RFID technology to improve patient outcomes, reduce costs, improve efficiencies, and comply with the new federal regulations governing management of patient records and medical equipment. And comply with the new federal regulations governing management of patient records and medical equipment. And comply with the new federal regulations governing management of patient records and medical equipment. The FDA is requiring unique device identification for medical devices and pharmaceuticals. Manufacturers are placing an RFID tag on devices incorporated with a human-readable label. The FDA will create and maintain the UDI database to prevent counterfeiting, manage recalls, and increase patient safety and supply chain efficiencies. Tigo's Radion tag is an RFID inlay that meets the requirements of FDA UDI with 6 Sigma reliability and compatibility with existing labels and processes. The nature of Tigo's high memory RFID ensures all information cannot be erased and lasts a lifetime of the part. Throughout the life of the asset, information can be read, acted upon, and updated again to the tag for increased efficiency, safety, and accuracy. Tigo provides a launch kit that has everything you need to deploy a medical tracking solution, or just want to test the technology. The kit includes a Gen 2 UHF RFID reader, handheld or desktop, TigoView reader software, Radion RFID labels, and a Getting Started manual. Thanks for watching. If you are getting ready to deploy RFID for healthcare and would like more information, please email us at info@tegoinc.com.
All right, show me how this works, because you've got a scanner here, and you have a chip implanted. Is it underneath your right arm?
It's in the right arm. You power up a scanner, and you simply scan the arm. And once you scan the arm, you'll see that the identification information.
And on the laptop here you have it hooked up to, it says some number, but that doesn't tell me anything about your health condition. Now, from that number, they access your health records.
Right, that's correct. If you go into further detail on the database about Scott Silverman, it'll have my driver's license information, it'll have medical information, it'll have financial information, and it'll have security information for ingress and egress into facilities.
All right, you hear the sound of the background, people saying, Big Brother, too much information, a little scary. How do you respond to that?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I used to get that question a lot 2 years ago. Today, we've gotten it a lot less. In fact, the Attorney General of Mexico and some of his staff have received this chip for security purposes, and when the acceptance rate of the product goes up significantly like it has, some of the privacy concerns go down. But to answer your question directly, Lester, what most people are concerned with is the invasiveness of this, that it goes in your body. And as we know with pacemakers and other medical devices, that when people accept it for its applications and for its ability is when it'll work its way into society. It won't be tomorrow, it won't be next week, but 2, 3, 5 years from now, slowly but surely it'll work its way into the mainstream.
People might as well hear it. I mean, people have to learn that was Lucent.
Forced to retire.
Lucent.